out the new Chaos Ruler inside of Lightsworn. It actually opens up the door for King Calamity with insane follow-up. But let's go ahead and show it off with a really powerful build here. This is going to be mostly a synchro deck. And at the very beginning, it's going to be like, okay, you just play some Lightsworn, you got some extra tech cards, but then you literally instantly will be losing if you don't negate the right card. And what card will you need to negate? Well, it depends what other combo extenders that you have. You can easily play through 2 hand traps with this variant. So, anyways, this is the important card. This is the new card that makes everything possible, which is Chaos Ruler over here. And once you synchro summon, you get to activate the top 5, and then you get to add one of the activated light or dark monsters to your hand, and then send the rest of the graveyard. So you get all those proc effects too. And if this card is in your graveyard, you get to banish 1 light and a dark, and then bring this card back. You do banish it when it leaves the field, but it doesn't matter because your opponent literally has to play off of a board that is almost unwinnable. So we're going to go ahead and also see the Kagutsuchi over here to go ahead and get more cards into the graveyard. So basically you're spamming the board with a bunch of things that would be excavating cards. Then on your opponent's turn, you go ahead and make Formula. Then you can go ahead and go into King Calamity, which makes it so it has this effect that's really good where it says your opponent cannot activate cards or effects into this effect's activation, which is that your opponent cannot activate cards. So that's pretty good, you know. So your opponent will just have to set cards. Again, if you just make this is enough to win, because remember, this card has an ability to instantly come back right into the duel, and that will give you instant access to basically bring out some extra monsters over here. So we're also going to see the Gaga Samurai, and on top of that, the other card, the Chaos Rule, lets you search out for whatever light or dark that you want. You can Legionnaire, get cards out of your opponent's hands. And again, this is why this is so good. You can make it Dingirsu the following turn, so you can go ahead and permit any like destruction that your opponent might have set. But it's really difficult to tell where you need to stop the combo because there's so many extenders in this deck. I mean, look at this. You wouldn't even think that this was a Lightsworn deck. But again, this makes Lightsworn a lot more viable because I haven't really seen too many Lightsworn decks that had a really insane turn 1 play. A lot of times they'll be like Minerva, maybe with extra negate. Sometimes they'll make Appaloosa. And that's really about it. But this is one of the most strong variants that I've ever seen. Again, this card just is so OP in the deck. You literally just go ahead and make it, and then you can add whatever that you want. And then on top of that, if you have Wolf, Felice, any other effect that has, you have Trick Clown, you have so many other effects that would activate. All you need to do is have this, and then you're pretty much good to go. But again, your extenders may vary, but once again, this card makes so your opponent can't do anything, and then the following turn you instantly have a 4,000 attacker plus that additional 3,000 attacker that will be coming out, and then you should be a-okay because this card searches out extra cards. Again, you can Legionnaire to force your opponent to activate any hand trap earlier on in the play, but again, more than likely to try to stop you from synchroing for it in the first place. But once again, you'll see like the same thing over and over where you're just swarming your opponent with too many cards after you've told them you cannot Yugioh, which I know everyone's been saying the same thing. There's just so many decks that just do this now, and this is just going to be another one of those decks. I mean, you don't have to use it for that specific effect, but I like how you're able to style on your opponent with this deck. We're also going to go ahead and check out a few different ways to go ahead and open up this combo. So nothing too special, just like a Minerva, then you get an extra card. We've got a Reborn here to bring back Raiden. Raiden obviously going to go ahead and have an awesome effect, but it's really this card that enables a lot of the stuff to go ahead and go on, because this card just brings out the Plague Spreader, which makes things much easier for the consistency of this. And then on top of that, being able to go into Legionnaire and manipulate the numbers, obviously with the Chaos Ruler, again that's the important card here that makes this all viable, is that you're also able to bring back another monster. And Lumina's effect is not a hard once per turn. You can Lumina into Lumina to bring back another Lumina to bring back another Lumina to bring back like Garoth, and then deck yourself out, which is a fun thing to do. But we're really not here for that. We're pretty much here to go ahead and just, again, stop our opponent from playing Yu-Gi-Oh! But in addition to that, you can also make this card, which will be able to make your monster have more attack. You also lose the battle phase of your next turn, which doesn't exist anyways because you're going to beat your opponent over here. So we've got 8,000 attack with just this one monster alone, which is hilarious. So you can one-shot your opponent if you like doing that as well. But there's very few comebacks from when that card is activated. again, it's pretty much you activate and you give your opponent a handshake. But we'll see up against Samurais, because these cards are just going to be able to go ahead and summon themselves. So it's again just giving you guys a few varieties here of like what you open up with your hand, so you guys can kind of be a little bit more aware of if you have this specific hand, you're going to be able to try to make something in particular. So we'll go ahead and see him start cycling through more cards. It's a Flag Spreader, a Wolf. We've also got the Trick Clown over here, so Dante going to be activating that effect. You get to add whatever card that you want. I mean, it's basically look at the top 5, and whatever card gets an effect, just, you know, obviously send it to the graveyard, whatever good card that you draw into. I will probably be making another video, which is a more standard Lightsworn build with, of course, the new Chaos Ruler card, because this card, it really helps out Lightsworn a bunch. But if we're talking about making the deck like more competitive, honestly, you can't really beat your opponent cannot play Yugioh cards. So this is going to be the go-to card, I would say, turn 1. Plus, you can follow up with Legionnaires, and you know, obviously making Dingirsu protecting your cards is great as well. And this guy just, there's nothing he can do about it because he cannot activate cards, right? And then Kagasuchi also lets you go ahead and dump 5. So you have dump 5 with this, and then with the Chaos Ruler, that's another 5. So you're sending 10 cards and 5 cards in your hand. You go through half your deck in one turn. Excellent, excellent stuff indeed. But I know you guys want the deck profile for that Calamity Sworn. I'm not even sure what I would want to call this though. Chaos Ruler King Calamity Sworn, I think would be a good name. But nonetheless, it's just a Lightsworn engine to go ahead and cycle through a bunch of your cards, as well as running triple Plague Spreader over here, just so we can have extra consistency, because it's pretty much just make Needle Fiber and this, and then you can lock your opponent out of Yugioh. But anyways, here is what we got for the deck profile over here. So we've got 2 copies of the Legionnaire, we've got 3 copies of Wolf Lightsworn Beast, 2 copies of Photon Thrasher, 3 copies of Raiden, 2 copies of Trick Clown, 2 copies of Dinotherium, 2 copies of Damage Juggler, 3 copies of Felice, 3 copies of Hat Tricker. So this really helps out with going second, even though the whole point was pretty much to go ahead and lock them out. But again, this will let you kind of play through some hand traps. And then 3 copies of Lumina, 3 copies of Plague, 3 copies of Solar, 1 copy of Rhoda, Upstart Goblin, Foolish Burial, Monster Reborn, 3 copies of Charge, and 2 copies of the World Legacy Succession. And then for the extra deck, King Calamity, the Nether Soul over here. And then we've got the Chaos Ruler, the newer card over here. And Stars Charge Warrior, we got Formula, we got Dingirsu over here. Then we got Kagasuchi. Again, like when you activate, like you're going to activate the effect of Raiden. I mean, if we just look at how many cards that we're sending to the graveyard on average. And again, remember that we have like our solar recharges and our charges to get extra cards. So at most, like you're always going to have Raiden. Lumina will be bringing back Raiden as well. And then on top of that, if you happen to be going second, remember Felice can also send the top 3 if you happen to get Felice. So that Felice will also be another target for, of course, your lights and darks anyways. So that's going to be really good. But nonetheless, this is 5, this is another 5, so you have 10, 11, 12, just right off the bat. And I would say you can pretty easily make a Minerva in the deck as well, and that's another 3. So again, you're setting like 15 cards to the graveyard, and then these can activate and go off. And then on top of that, you have number 60, which we saw several times. But keep in mind, though, it has that negative effect where you won't be able to go into your battle phase for the next turn, but it doesn't matter, just OTK them, and then there's no next turn. Yeah. Anyways, moving these cards back over here, because I just wanted to mention like how many cards that you can send to the graveyard with these abilities. And Stars Charge Warrior, if you just really need to draw another card, I guess it could be a stepping stone as well to make your other targets. And then we have Dingirsu. You know, I was even thinking after I saw Charge Warrior, I'm honestly thinking that you can mess around with Malicious and the Nemesis cards. That would be another option for this deck, because Nemesis can actually recycle some of the banished cards as well. Because of course your Legionnaire has that awesome ability to by banishing 3 light or dark monsters from your graveyard. So that's another great thing you can do. Anyways, Charge Warrior formula, and then Dingirsu to protect your stuff. Kagasuchi just basically sending top 5 over there. And then we've got Minerva, excellent card overall. The Gaga Samurai is quite great. It reminds me of Blade Armor Ninja, if any of you guys have played that in Warrior decks. It does less damage, but it doesn't require you to have warriors, and it has that ability to make it so. You can change this to defense position, where it can make a second attack on when another monster you control is targeted. and this card's an attack, you can change this card defense position if you do change the attack to this card. So basically, you can block something if you're really low on life points, and you make this card and you just can't OTK. It could be great as well. But it's pretty much just used for the double attack to pull off your OTK plays. And then Tsukiyomi out here to just go ahead and cycle through some extra cards. And then really went over this effect. Dante obviously just milling more cards, but also for OTK plays. Although when you go ahead and say your opponent can't do anything and this card comes back the following turn, yeah, it's going to be pretty easy anyways. And then we have the Curious over here, and then of course the Needle Fiber to round it off. But anyways, guys, hopefully you enjoyed the deck profile as well as the gameplay. Shout out to my boy Stardust for hooking me up with the gameplay as well as the deck profile. I'm gonna make a more normal build with Judgment Dragon and stuff. I originally was gonna do that, but then I saw his replay and I'm like, dude, I can't beat his. His literally says that your opponent can't play, which technically makes it more competitive in that environment. But anyways, thanks for tuning in, guys. Hope you enjoyed the video. If you did, drop a like on it. Check out Stardust. I'll link him down below as well. And I'll catch you guys on the next video. And if you guys are new here, make sure you guys subscribe, turn on that bell so you don't miss out on more Yu-Gi-Oh stuff. And if you want to send in some replays, feel free to go ahead and do so at AzneyesReplays@gmail.com to show me some of your new cool combos with some newer Yu-Gi-Oh cards. And I'll catch you in the next vid. Have a good one. I'm out. Peace.